I'm going to talk today about emotional abuse in a better way, kind of what's going on when we hear about emotional abuse for those who've experienced it, and how we transform it. Because my life is the ultimate lemons to lemonade story about having experienced profound emotional abuse and transforming it into what I call a better way. So let's take a look on the other side. So what's so deleterious about emotional abuse is that, and a lot of people don't know this unless you've experienced it, is that an emotional abuser, or an emotionally abusive system is aimed to pinpoint. It's almost like pinching, okay? It's aimed to pinch you and hit you right at what they consider your most vulnerable point, psychologically and emotionally. And it's almost like emotional abusers have a radar for zoning in and honing in on where you would be most vulnerable. And, in severe situations, they will attack almost anything: your financial status, relationship with children, your realm in your, family and standing there, and all these kinds of things, because they really know no boundaries and no checkpoints. And another key point to understand is that emotional abusers actually derive an energy, something called narcissistic supply, where emotional abusers, emotional vampire, that term, they actually draw an energy from putting people down, and they have a psychic bond of sorts, whereas they're pressing down, they're elevating themselves. In their minds, they believe they're elevating themselves when they're really not. But the key that I'm getting at is that they're really pinching at that point of perceived vulnerability, and it can be very hurtful for people to experience, and that's what the world doesn't understand. And so when I talk about a better way, some of my segue points or bridges that I would put in is that, having studied the issue for 30 years, that intensively, that you see that an emotional abuser, well, first you understand they're aiming for your weak spot. And then you start to understand that, they're acting in an impaired fashion, right? They're not healthy people, because healthy people understand boundaries. Healthy people understand respect for another, and even dignity, for another human being. And then, as you continue your own personal growth, and as I start to get to a better way in the discussion, you realize you can even have, realms of forgiveness. I'm not saying you don't hold people accountable. I'm surely not saying you don't establish boundaries, but you start to see these people, or maybe even you just say, this is not what I want to be. And that's where the whole notion of success and a better way comes in. Because what I'm pointing to is that the direction for success we need to embrace in society through my Gentle Genius coaching, restoring our humanity, all kinds of ways that I've been bringing these agendas forward, is that, the real success, real leaders from this point onward are people who hear words like collaborate, mutual relationships, developing your own purpose, and being able to stick with that through the kind of, slings and arrows of our, the emotional, at least, slings and arrows of our modern world. So, what I'm getting is that emotional abusers and people who strive for better, have in common, we all want success, right? And what we're dealing with is a flawed method of success that abusers embody. And a better way, okay, are those who say, look, I want to collaborate, I'm going to be creative, and we do have to learn the word appropriate. I'm going to act in an appropriate fashion to treat others with respect, to require respect for myself, all these kinds of win-win facets of our conversation and of our workings. This is what we help you do with our training, coaching, and mediation at theworldsgenius.com, at theworldsbestmedia.com. But this is what I'm talking about. The key concept is everybody wants success. It's who are those people who, and with working with us, you develop those appropriate mechanisms to pursue success. Everybody wants it, but there's people who feel like they have to tear down someone else in order to get it. And that's certainly, right, we can see that's a lack of confidence. People with confidence create, and again, I underscore, create and do it appropriately. Okay? It's got to be within a boundary. It's got to be mindful of the greater whole. And this is our work, and this is the genius of it. And even a gentle genius is helping people do it. Companies, families, and individuals all kind of need this. Anybody with a good-minded heart and a good heart, who in good mind, who wants to go in the right direction, I won't even say right, that could be put in a great direction, in a better direction, get in touch with us, because this is the way. It's pursuing, it's pivoting away from the negativity. Let's make negativity a dying concept. Let's discuss, pursuing success in a better way. That's what our world's about. That's what my 30 years of walking the walk, my 30 years of intensive experiences brought me. So again, look at the website. I want to be clear today in saying, look, there's pain in emotional abuse. They can go right for that painful spot. And still, you can say, I don't want that. And at the same time, what we help you do is start walking in a better direction and instilling societal winners, the real winners of society, who say, I'm going to collaborate, I'm going to cooperate, I'm going to play within reason and fair boundary. Thank you.